Stop before you close this window because your order is being processed as we speak and your access link will hit your inbox in about 3 minutes. And I actually need those 3 minutes because I'm about to share with you something that most people get quite often backwards about what we've been taught and trained to think about productivity, habits, and systems. Quite frankly, if I hear one more guru tell a struggling entrepreneur that the secret to a 7-figure business is waking up at 4 in the morning and taking a cold plunge, I will lose it. We've literally turned business into a cargo cult. And if you don't know what that is, it's back in World War II in the Pacific Islands, the US military planes landed, the cargo stopped. So what do the locals do? They built wooden headsets, they built runways out of bamboo, and they waved straw flags on the runway. They performed all the rituals perfectly, but the planes never came back. And that's what the entire self-help industry has turned business into today. We copy the behavior of successful people like their religious rituals, hoping that if we mimic the motion, we'll inherit the outcome. Wake up at 3:55 in the morning, cold plunge, journal, meditate, visualize. I mean, at some point I had about 18 things on my morning routine. It was my 9-to-5 job. Waking up at 7 in the morning isn't what made these people successful. Never did. The same people who want you to wake up at 4 in the morning won't talk about how Jeff Bezos, for example, refuses to use an alarm and prioritizes getting 8 hours of sleep at night. Or how Warren Buffett spends 80% of his day reading. Quote, I insist on spending a lot of time doing nothing, end quote. Not networking, nothing. Or how Elon Musk checks critical emails as soon as he wakes up. Or Ravikant rejects grind entirely. You don't get rich by working harder, you get rich by working smarter with leverage. Now, these people don't win just because they have a magic routine. They win because they've identified how their nervous system actually works and they don't waste energy fighting it. But here's what happens to you. You see a successful person's routine and think, hey, if I do what they do, I'll get what they got. So you set your alarm for 4 in the morning. You force yourself into a nice bath as soon as you wake up and you push through the morning routine that feels like punishment. Let's just call it what it is. And 3 weeks later, you're exhausted, your business isn't growing, and you're thinking, it's your discipline. Wrong. You're just copying someone else's operating system and wondering why it's not running on your hardware. Here's what the industry won't tell you. Systems, goals, and habits don't just exist in a vacuum. The entire industry is built on the wrong assumption. Hey, just copy the right habits and you will succeed. But that's like saying just copy an NBA player's workout and you'll make the team. Same game, different players, different strategies. Every time you force yourself to do something that your nervous system is wired to avoid, you're paying a massive biological tax. The business world wants you to standardize that. One morning routine, one sales process, one path to success. Everybody do the same thing. It's not about being lazy. Your nervous system is protecting you, but your brain still wants a reward hit. So you redesign the website, and instead of getting clients, you optimize instead of shipping product. You're pursuing low risk tasks because you're chasing that another dopamine hit. If you chase high risk tasks, which are against your own wiring, they mean threat. So they spike your cortisol hormone. This is not a character flaw. And when it doesn't work, they tell you, oh, you need to try harder, you need more discipline, you need to get up even earlier. I mean, let's assume you have 100 units of cognitive energy per day. If you spend 80 units just fighting yourself to get started, you're only left with 20 units for actual business. You aren't a hero for working hard against your own cognitive profile. When you operate in sustained misalignment, your brain allocates resources to managing friction instead of making good decisions. Your executive function degrades and your pattern recognition suffers, and obviously your creativity essentially disappears. Not because you're broken, because your biology is rejecting this external system you're trying to cast upon yourself. Quite frankly, you've probably experienced this already. Think about a task that you're naturally good at, something that you will do almost without thinking. You don't need discipline for it. You don't need motivation for it. You don't need a system. Now, think about something that drains you, even when it pays very well. You start procrastinating, you overthink, you avoid it. Same person, same intelligence, different tasks. That difference isn't character, it's a bottleneck. But we have two completely different layers at play. First layer is our cognitive profile, which that is sort of like your cognitive DNA. These are relatively stable traits: cognitive preference, stress responses, tolerance to unknowns, speed versus depth, risk metabolism. These are bottlenecks, not excuses. They change very slowly, if at all, and fighting them creates massive friction and costs more cognitive energy units. Think of this as your hardware that you're born with. And then we can move to the second layer, habits. These are learned adaptive behavior. Things like your routines, workflows, rituals, systems. These are changeable, but only within the limits of the cognitive profile of layer number 1, or your constraints. Think of this as your software. A mistake that everyone makes is trying to change behavior, which is layer number 2, without accounting for constraints, which is layer number 1. And here's what the entire self-help space gets wrong. They treat everything like it's changeable. Just fix your habits, they say. Just build better systems. Just be more disciplined. But that's where discipline gets wasted. Behavioral science consistently shows the following. Habits fail when they require constant self-control. Habits stick when they reduce the cognitive load. Traits don't dictate what you do. They dictate how much energy it costs for the same habit. We've identified 6 cognitive biases that prevent people from accepting simple reality that layer 1 doesn't change very much. Number 1, affinity bias. We tend to copy people we relate to. We mistakenly assume that we all have the same internal setup. Oh, they talk like me, we are the same. Number 2, social desirability bias. We optimize for what sounds impressive on our resume, bank account, etc. We override what actually energizes us. So we solve for external factors instead of internal satisfaction. Number 3, restraint bias. We believe discipline can compensate for misalignment. We ignore that alignment reduces the need for willpower. Bias number 4, confirmation bias. We search for evidence that more effort will fix the problem. We discount signals that point to structural mismatch. Bias number 5, planning fallacy. We underestimate the recovery cost of draining work. We budget time while misbudget energy. Meaning, if you're doing a taxing job on your cognitive energy profile, we always underestimate how much it takes us to get back to normal so that we continue doing the same behavior again. Bias number 6, sunk cost fallacy. We stay because we already invested time and effort. We treat persistence as virtue, even when it creates net loss. That means that going in the wrong direction faster doesn't get you to your destination any earlier. It takes even more time. Most modern self-help philosophy teaches the following when it comes to goals. Pick a goal first, copy habits, force discipline, blame yourself when it fails, disguised as, I'm taking responsibility. And I'm all for taking responsibility, by the way. But if the underlying problem isn't correctly identified, more responsibility doesn't fix it. It just concentrates the blame on you. Here's what we found works. Get clarity about how you operate. Identify what should be designed around and what can be trained. Design systems that reduce friction and let habits emerge naturally from the inside out. Optimize later. If you don't have clarity, having goals is almost a waste of time. And if you don't have goals, you can't have systems. And if you don't have systems, you can't build good habits. Reverse that order and you reinforce habits that don't serve the life that you actually want. See, when large companies make high-stake decisions, they don't just evaluate the strategy. They evaluate the operator, the executive, or the CEO. They've learned the hard way that a brilliant plan executed by the wrong person fails, while a decent plan executed by the right person wins. You probably know this already. That's why Fortune 500 companies pay thousands of dollars for behavioral assessment that analyzes how someone makes decision under pressure, or where they become the bottleneck, or what drains them even if it's working. how they handle risk and uncertainty. They do this because hiring and promoting the wrong operator costs far more in lost momentum, missed opportunity, expensive pivots, and plus all the drama and the weird team dynamic that they bring. They have the financial backing, obviously, the teams, the infrastructure to make this kind of operator insight and intelligence a routine in their companies. The problem is, as a founder or an operator, you're expected to make those same decisions about businesses, partners, and path without any of that support or financial backing. This is the exact gap why we created the Business DNA Diagnostic. It's not a personality test, and it certainly isn't a find your passion quiz with standardized answers. It's a cognitive profile audit. We put together questions that are designed to bypass your rationalization layer. The stories you tell yourself about who you are and what you should want, to reveal the source code. The subconscious mind is in the driver's seat that makes your decisions daily. It reveals the unconscious patterns that drive your decisions, execution, stalling patterns. You make decisions using system 1, which is your subconscious mind. Then system 2, your conscious mind, rationalizes the decision after. That's why things like I don't feel it isn't random. It's a pattern recognition by your subconscious mind. We're just bad at introspecting on our own behavior. This is actually called the introspection illusion. That's why smart people keep making bad choices about business or choosing wrong businesses over and over. Now, if you read this report and don't immediately recognize yourself in it, then it failed the only job that it's supposed to do. But that's not our intention. We have identified 6 main business archetypes, and the Diagnostic DNA report identifies where you fall on the 6 archetype spectrum. We start with builders. These are people that create systems from scratch. Hustlers. These are salespeople. They close deals, they chase momentum. Operators. These are people that optimize and systematize companies. Strategists. They think long-term, solve complex problems. Creator. They are innovators, and they bring new ideas to life. Supporters, these are the people that enable others and build relationships within the organizations. Here's what matters. Builder hustler trying to run an operator strategist business will suffocate. Not because they're incompetent or they're lazy, but the daily execution requirements conflict with their own cognitive profile. Some people are wired for chaos and momentum. Others are wired for systems and optimization. Some thrive in collaboration and others suffocate in it. This report shows you your exact combination and which business models match it. When you take the Business DNA Diagnostic today, here's what you're going to be receiving. Number 1, you're going to get 40+ page Business DNA report. I wish I had this 10 years ago. I wish I had this 10 years ago. I had to find all these things out on my own, year over year over year. It's a strategic behavioral manual on how you can actually operate, split over 6 sections. Let me go over them a little bit. Part 1, your operating system. This section explains how you naturally think, decide, execute under real conditions. Your archetype combinations shows how you should build, scale, and lead before tactics are applied. Part 2, your non-negotiables. Some traits change slowly and predictably under pressure. This section identifies these bottlenecks, so progress is engineered intelligently without lowering the standards or avoiding responsibility. Part 3, high ROI habits for your wiring. Habits only compound when they align with how you generate energy and momentum. We do the things that give us energy, essentially. This section filters habits through your operating system so that effort produces leverage, not friction. Number 4, habits to stop forcing. Not all resistance signals a lack of discipline. This section removes habits that, quite frankly, conflict with your own wiring and replaces them with functionally effective alternatives. Part 5, what fits you and what doesn't. Not every profitable path is sustainable for every operator. This section identifies business models that compound with your operating system and flags those that predictably create a burnout. Part 6. Your predictable self-sabotage patterns. Under stress, behavior follows repeatable patterns before conscious control kicks in. This section helps you recognize those patterns early and interrupt them before they create damage. Super helpful. You're gonna get 40 plus pages of all these details in your report. Plus, I'm gonna throw in 2 bonuses today. Number 1, the Archetype operating manual. We normally sell this for $97 on its own. Deep reference guide on all the Archetype combinations. If you're building a team or evaluating co-founders, this will show you who work well with who creates productive tension, who creates destructive friction, how to structure roles based on operating systems. Bonus number 2, Business DNA AI Advisory Prompts. These we sell for $197 on their own. These are 9 AI prompts designed to turn your report into a living strategic advisor. We advise that you upload your report to an AI service and use these prompts to get things like ongoing strategic guidance, calibrated for your own profile, risk analysis that accounts for your blind spots, stall diagnosis when you're stuck, decision support for high-stake choices, partnership evaluation before you commit. It's almost like having a $5,000 consultant on call 24/7. Here's what matters. You can keep polishing the edges of a broken engine. Another productivity course, another morning routine, another habit tracker, or you can finally look under the hood, get the clarity that you need, an understanding of yourself so that you can build around who you are already. The problem isn't your discipline or your work ethic or your intelligence, although I did blame myself for these things for years before figuring all of these things out. It's that you're running the wrong software on your own hardware. And no amount of optimization fixes that. Fighting your cognitive profile isn't discipline. It's frankly inefficiency. Every unit of energy spent forcing misalignment is energy not spent on building a business that you want. The Business DNA Diagnostic isn't a personality test. It's a resource audit. It shows you how you actually operate. So you can build systems, you can build habits and businesses that work with your wiring instead of against it. Discipline is costly, energy-wise. Use it when it actually matters. Clarity is cheap. You can buy one today. One burns energy, the other saves it. Click the button below, get your Diagnostic DNA report. Start building with insight that only was accessible to high-level executives. Let's build something that matters. I'll see you on the other side.